Hello and welcome back to another episode of Hashtag Burning Questions. My name is Mbali and today I have two amazing guests. Diego, who is the newest member of FAN. Diego, welcome to Burning Questions.
Thank you very much, Mbali.
And Mr. HP, who is the director of FAN. FAN, welcome to another episode of Burning Questions.
Thanks, Mbali, and Diego. Welcome aboard. We're gonna do some great stuff. For those of you who don't know, Diego joined us from the realm of politics, where he stood as a candidate in last year's election. So he has a ton of experience and bitterness that he can share with us, and it's all going to add to this idea of how can we make freedom a real thing in politics. So Diego, welcome aboard. It's going to be a great journey.
Thank you very much.
Sir. All right, guys. So today we are talking about cadre deployment, and I just have a little code card to share with you guys. This code card was put together by Mr. HP himself, and the code card reads: cadre deployment is the knee on the neck of South Africa's most vulnerable people. It's choking to death those in desperate need of a state that works, a government that helps them get on their feet with dignity. I think this is a very well put together quote, and Mr. HP, we can see the emotions there in that wording. I think I'll start with you, Diego. Maybe for someone who doesn't know, what is cadre deployment?
Well, in basic terms, cadre deployment refers to the appointment of members of a governing party into public office on the basis that they are loyal members of that governing party. Here in South Africa, we have seen that playing out, and from local government level, provincial, national level, we have seen it playing out, whereby members of the or loyal members of the African National Congress are deployed into positions within positions and state-owned entities, positions, and department positions on the basis that they are loyal members of the ANC. So that's what it is essentially.
That's the basic explanation. Herman, I think I will come to you. When you were putting together this code card, what were you feeling? Because I feel a lot of personal feelings on this code card. Maybe you can also give us your definition of cadre deployment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think Diego stated it quite well. And this quote actually comes from a piece that I'm in the process of writing that I gave to Sholin, so that we can get this quote card out there. So the reason why you get the strong emotion from this quote of a piece of mine is that cadre deployment really is a sort of an invisible poison. It's part of this trio of really incredibly corrupt practices within South Africa, where it is aimed at benefiting the ANC and no one else. So we've got cadre deployment as one element of this. We have BEE, which of course we all know stands for blatant elite enrichment. And then we have policies that take away the freedom from South Africans and put assets into the hands of the government: expropriation without compensation, national health insurance scheme, prescribed assets, these sorts of policies. All what these three things have in common is that they make the state, the government, the institutions of South Africa loyal to the ANC and not to the people of South Africa. Because if you want to be a judge in South Africa, you can't be a good advocate and then become a good magistrate and then become a high court judge based solely on your merit. Because in South Africa, and the ANC is quite blatant about this, in South Africa, we've got this cadre deployment nonsense where if you're going to become a high court judge, you have to be an ANC cadre in most instances. Now, of course, there are instances where cadres are not appointed, where there are some really good appointments to the High Court bench, for example. But the problem becomes when appointees are more loyal to a political party than the constitution or the people of this country. And what that leads to is either corruption or incompetence. And both of those end up with being the neck on the knee of South African people. Because if you are poor in South Africa, you need the state to help you in some way. You cannot, we need people to get housing, and we need to have the state involved in schooling and housing and clinics and hospitals and roads. When you appoint someone to a department who's good at the job, you're giving the poorest, most vulnerable South Africans a chance to get service delivery from a state that works. But if you're going to appoint people not on what they can do, but how loyal they are to the ANC, you are compromising the ability of the poorest South Africans to get good educations, good homes, good clinics. So it's the knee on the neck of people in South Africa who are struggling to get by. And if there's one thing that gets me into a rage very, very quickly, it is politicians taking away opportunities from the people who need them the most. And that's exactly what Cadre Deployment does.
Yeah, definitely. Mr. HP, that was heartfelt. Diego, maybe any last thoughts from your side with regards to this code card before we move to the comment of the week?
Well, I agree with Herman that Cadre Deployment is quite poisonous. Not only given that it really ruins departments, state-owned entities, and everything of that nature, but even, for example, here in Limpopo on the ground, you have a lot of young people who have dropped out of school because they saw a lot of people coming from Seshego, friends, and people surrounding Julius Malema, getting into the whole tender thing and becoming rich. So you have a lot of young people who stopped believing in the education system, went on to join the African National Congress because they thought that it has to be the way to get to the top. Education doesn't cut it. So yeah, it has done a lot of damage in society, even at the ground level. Sure, those are my thoughts.
Sure. No, which is quite sad. Okay, let's move on to comment of the week from one of our viewers. It's very interesting. And what was very interesting about it is the language that was used. Anyway, the comment goes as follows. Politicians have made our lives a living hell while living in luxury. It's our money, not theirs to use, and abuse as they please. Democracy has become demockery. ANC has a total disregard for this country and its people. Evidence has shown they are rotten to the core. Thieves and vultures are hiding behind designer suits and using the people as collateral, shameless dude heads, the whole lot of them. I don't know if you guys see the last words there. I'm not gonna pronounce it, but I think let's start with you, Herman. Do you think what we have in this comment? Do you think his wording or his views are valid? What do you think about this comment?
I think there's a lot of merit here. There's a lot of validity here, but I'm also going to say that it's only half of the problem. And because this is where it sort of gets a bit hardcore. Politicians are the quality that the citizens demand of them. So when we have, let's pronounce it this way, when we have shatheeds as politicians, we need to ask ourselves, what are we doing to change that? It's not enough to complain. We know in this country, complaining can only get you so far. Complaining is important. It gets the ball rolling. It gets conversations going, but it's not enough. So I want Fauzia to go further than this, to take this comment and then actually ask, right, what has led to this being the case? What has led to this division, this distance between citizens and politicians, making it possible for the politicians to abuse the citizenry and use them as collateral? And I think there are a few reasons. One, the most obvious reason, is voter turnout. We have 40 million South Africans in this country who are of voting age. And yet at the last election, something like between 17 and 19 million people actually voted. That means more than half of the people who could have voted in the last election did not pitch. And now I'm going to perhaps be a bit rude to Fauzia, and not in a direct way, but I'm going to ask everyone who shares these sentiments, myself included, what have we done to change voter turnout? Have we gone out and spoken to our colleagues, people who work for us, people who go to school with us, to university with us? Have we asked them, did you vote? And if not, why not? And try to engage on that level, because this is a problem that we must cure. No one else. The ANC has no interest in boosting the numbers of people who go to the ballot box, because they know those people are likely to vote against the ANC. So the first thing is electoral participation is embarrassingly low in South Africa. And I understand people have lost faith in democracy, but that is no excuse to then sit back and then go, there's nothing we can do. We can either complain or immigrate, or see our kids and grandkids immigrate away from us. So when we are going to complain, yes, you have a right to complain, but take it one step further. Take it to a step of, have I actually done something to boost political accountability in this country, other than voting for myself? Because let's think about this. If you support a sports team and you want a sports team to win, or you care about football, rugby, or whatever, you don't just pitch up on match day and check the result. It's a part of your life. It's something that it makes your heart beat faster, that you care about, that you know about. And we have reduced politics to some sort of small nook and cranny where only the politicians really care about it. These are the decisions that affect our lives and the lives of our kids and grandkids. If we're going to be serious about fixing this problem, we have to get real. And getting real means, what can I do to get one more person to the ballot box? Because let me put it this way. If every single person that voted against the ANC and the EFF in the 2019 elections voted for another party, there would be a new majority overnight. That's how simple it is. So problem number one, electoral participation. Problem number two, political volunteering. Have you considered standing as a candidate? You know the problems in your community. You know that the people elected don't necessarily address them. If they're serious enough for you, well, perhaps consider doing something about it. Or if they're not serious for you to take a stand, get involved in trying to get people who you would trust in there. We all have this idea of politicians are just, empty windbags, but let's fix that. Let's raise the standards. So what Fauzia is saying is very, very true, but it's only diagnosing the problem. It's not giving us a prescription for the medication.
Yeah, definitely. Mr. HP, preach the gospel, sir. I feel convicted right now. I'm gonna go out there and,
you're like an ANC politician. You're like an ANC politician. Most of them are convicted in some way.
Definitely. Oh my gosh, HP, call me out. Okay, Diego, let's go to you. What do you think about Fauzi's comment?
Well, I think I agree with everything that Herman has said. In addition to that, I would say that I think we need a stronger civil society sector as well that holds politicians to account. Since 1994, we haven't really had a strong civil society sector in South Africa. And that's part of why politicians are doing as they please and no one is holding them to account. Yeah, so I think we do need a stronger civil society sector. People like Fezia, who have a lot to say about what's happening in the country, would like to see changes coming about, should rise up and say that, hey, enough is enough. It's now time for us to take back the power into our hands and truly in the sense, in the true sense of the people governing, the people should govern. Sure.
Yeah, definitely. Guys, I think we've come to the end of our show. I think this was a very, very great discussion. HP, thank you so much for joining us. And you too, Diego, welcome to FAN. Guys, this was another episode of Burning Questions. Do remember to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll see you guys next week. And remember, your freedom is worth fighting for.